In today's video, we will be discussing responsibility centers and how they impact healthcare facilities. In response to the discussion prompt of how responsibility centers are beneficial to healthcare organizations and what components are necessary to make responsibility centers operate properly. Responsibility centers are helpful to healthcare organization centers simply because they help to allocate controllable costs and revenues for managers to be able to associate where they can control costs and cut costs in order to help the facility to run better and create more revenue in the future. In regards to what components are necessary to make a responsibility center operate properly, obviously we'll need to know what your controllable expenses are versus what your controllable revenues are. And you'll need to know that not only for the departments that you run as a manager, but also if you're in a director's position, you'll need that information on reports from every department within the hospital or facility that you work in. So it's very important to have great reporting for these specific roles so that when it all comes together, the director can understand what they're really looking at as far as what costs they can control and what they can't, and where they can kind of cut costs in order to build revenue in the future. For the second set of questions for the prompt, how might a breakdown analysis be useful in your future as a professional in health care organization? Depending on what field I may or may not go into, as a manager, it's always good to know and understand what revenues are, what costs are, obviously, and then also what those controllable revenues and costs are. So what can I control as a manager? What can I limit as far as costs if my costs are outweighing my revenues? And how can I make revenues increase with the controllable revenues that I have control over, I guess. As far as the fourth question, what benefits would you expect? Well, in reading over chapter 7, which is the chapter that discusses responsibility centers, just looking at the responsibility center figure 7.3 or 7-3, excuse me, it really details out what costs responsibilities centers have and what costs the support centers have, which every healthcare organization has responsibility centers and support centers, just because they have general administrative areas, and then they have your clinical areas as well, and so those will separate out into those responsibility centers and support centers automatically. But how that benefits me or how it could benefit me in the future is really just understanding the structure of whatever organization I am in, and how it all works together, as well as what my role in helping the organization maintain costs or increase revenues or even decrease costs will be, and how I can move forward with my team, and how our responsibilities can help impact the entire organization. So it's definitely something that's very eye-opening to those who are in healthcare management, just to understand what I can do to affect the costs of the company and increase the revenues as well.